Right, so you know your political party is in absolutely fantastic shape when your own MPs are publicly calling you outrageous, a control freak, and weak all in the same afternoon. I mean, forget party unity, forget collective responsibility, forget the traditional British reserve of keeping internal disputes behind closed doors. No, we've gone full nuclear. We've gone scorched earth. We've gone, I don't care who hears this, the Prime Minister is a disaster, and I'm saying it on Twitter for everyone to see. Welcome to the Labour Party in January 2026, where the knives are out, the gloves are off, and the absolute chaos is reaching levels previously thought impossible outside of a particularly dramatic episode of the thick of it. Quick favour before we dive into this beautiful mess. If you're enjoying this political carnage, hit that subscribe button and smash the bell icon. Over 94% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. It's free, takes literally 2 seconds, and helps us keep bringing you this sort of Westminster drama. Cheers if you did. Right, let's get stuck in, shall we? So here's what happened. Andy Burnham, Mayor of Greater Manchester, perpetually ambitious politician, and the man Keir Starmer sees in his nightmares, announced yesterday that he wanted to stand for the upcoming Gorton and Denton by-election. Perfectly reasonable, right? Successful mayor, popular politician, wants to return to Parliament. Democracy in action. Except democracy apparently doesn't apply when it threatens Keir Starmer's increasingly precarious grip on power. Because less than 24 hours after Burnham threw his hat in the ring, Labour's National Executive Committee held an emergency meeting and voted 8-1 to block him from even standing. Not voted against selecting him as the candidate, mind you, voted against allowing him to apply. They didn't even let him compete. It's like banning someone from a race, not because they cheated, but because they might actually win. The meeting lasted less than an hour, 45 minutes to be precise. 45 minutes to crush the parliamentary ambitions of one of Labour's most popular regional leaders. 45 minutes to create the most spectacular political own goal in recent memory. 45 minutes that may well have sealed Keir Starmer's fate as one of the shortest-serving prime ministers in British history. Because if you thought the backlash would be polite and restrained, oh boy, were you wrong. This wasn't gentle disagreement. This wasn't measured criticism. This was full-throated rage from sitting Labour MPs who've clearly had enough. John MacDonald, former Shadow Chancellor, veteran of 1,000 political battles, didn't mince his words. He called the decision disgusting. Disgusting. That's not parliamentary language. That's visceral contempt. And then he went further, directly addressing Starmer. Do not underestimate the depth of anger people will feel about this disgusting decision. That's not a warning, that's a threat. He's essentially telling the Prime Minister that he's just lit a fuse and the explosion is coming. And then comes the absolute killer line. If you think it strengthens you, I tell you it will simply hasten your demise. Read that again. A sitting Labour MP is publicly telling the Labour Prime Minister that this decision will hasten his demise. Not might, will. That's not criticism. That's a political death sentence being pronounced in real time. MacDonald says Starmer could have shown magnanimous leadership, but instead showed cowardice. Cowardice. The former Shadow Chancellor just called the Prime Minister a coward on social media for the entire world to see. Think about how extraordinary that is. Think about how broken the leadership and backbenchers must be for someone to feel comfortable saying that publicly. This isn't normal political discourse. This is a party tearing itself apart in front of our eyes. But MacDonald wasn't alone, oh no. Andy MacDonald, the Middlesbrough MP, called the decision completely outrageous. He said it should be for members to decide who stands in the by-election. You know, that quaint old concept called democracy that political parties used to pretend to believe in. And then he deployed the phrase that's going to haunt Labour for months: control freaks. He called the NEC, and by extension Starmer's inner circle, control freaks, who've made a catastrophic mistake and massively miscalculated the damage this will cause. Catastrophic, massive miscalculation. Those aren't words you use when you think your leadership knows what it's doing. Those are words you use when the ship is sinking and the captain is drilling holes in the hull. And then comes Richard Burgon piling on, because why not? The more the merrier in this political demolition derby. He said Starmer and his clique, lovely word choice there, clique, really emphasizes the factional nature of Starmer's leadership, have shown they're prepared to lose Gorton and Denton to reform just to protect narrow factional interests. Let that sink in for a moment. A Labour MP is publicly stating that the Labour Prime Minister would rather hand a parliamentary seat to Reform UK than allow internal party democracy. That's not just damning, that's apocalyptic. It's an accusation that Starmer cares more about eliminating rivals than winning elections, more about protecting his position than serving the country. Burgon called it weak leadership that will only deepen the crisis the party's in. Weak leadership. There's that phrase again. Multiple Labour MPs independently arriving at the same conclusion. Their leader is weak. Not strategic, not playing four-dimensional chess, just weak. Scared of competition, scared of democracy, scared of anyone who might challenge his authority. And Burgon didn't stop there. He called for an emergency NEC meeting to resolve this mess, because apparently the first emergency meeting went so well that we need another one to clean up the catastrophe created by the first one. It's emergencies all the way down at this point. Nadia Whitmo joined the chorus, accusing the leadership of destroying the only electoral vehicle currently capable of stopping a proto-fascist government in 2029. Proto-fascist government. She's talking about Reform UK potentially winning the next election, and she's saying Labour's leadership is sabotaging the party's ability to prevent that. Faction before party before country, she wrote. That's a devastating indictment. She's saying Starmer prioritizes his own faction over the Labour Party, which he prioritizes over the country. It's a hierarchy of selfishness, and it's being called out by his own MPs in the most public way possible. Even the trade unions are furious. Andrea Egan, the new leader of Unison, one of Labour's biggest union backers, said this isn't the way any democratic organisation should be run. When you've lost the unions, when the people who fund your party are publicly criticising your democratic credentials, you're in serious trouble. The unions are supposed to be Labour's backbone, their institutional support, their get-out-the-vote machine, and they're looking at this decision and saying, no, this isn't right, this isn't democratic, this isn't acceptable.
Now, let's talk about the official justification, because it's absolutely brilliant in its transparent ridiculousness. The Labour Party statement said allowing Burnham to stand would cause an unnecessary election for the Greater Manchester Mayor position, which would have a substantial and disproportionate impact on party campaign resources ahead of local elections in May. Campaign resources. They're worried about campaign resources. The party running the entire United Kingdom with access to state funding, union money and the advantages of incumbency is apparently too strapped for cash to fight a mayoral by-election. It's like claiming you can't afford to fix the leaky tap because you just bought a mansion. The scale is completely absurd. They also mention it would use substantial amounts of taxpayers' money. Oh, now they care about taxpayers' money. The same government that's been spending billions on various projects, that's expanded the civil service, that's increased departmental budgets, is suddenly concerned about the cost of a democratic election. Pull the other one, it's got bells on. This isn't about money. This has never been about money. This is about Starmer being terrified of Andy Burnham and doing whatever it takes to keep him out of Westminster. The statement goes on to say Burnham is doing a great job as mayor, and it's in the party's best interests to avoid an unnecessary mayoral election. Right, so he's doing such a great job that we definitely don't want him in Parliament, where he might actually influence national policy, or, heaven forbid, challenge for the leadership. The logic is spectacularly circular. He's good at his job, therefore he should stay in that job and not be allowed to do a different job, even though being an MP is what he wants to do and what would normally be considered a perfectly reasonable career progression for a successful politician. And then the final flourish. We look forward to fighting and winning the upcoming by-election in Gorton and Denton with a positive campaign focused on tackling the cost of living and bringing investment to the local area. Good luck with that positive campaign when the entire news cycle is dominated by your own MPs calling you outrageous, weak, and a control freak. Good luck focusing on the cost of living when voters are watching your party implode in real time. Good luck bringing investment to the area when you've just demonstrated that internal party politics matters more than democratic principles or electoral success. Because here's the thing that Labour's leadership seems fundamentally unable to grasp. Voters aren't stupid. They can see what's happening. They can see a party so consumed by internal warfare that it can't focus on governing. They can see a Prime Minister so insecure in his position that he's rigging the game to prevent competition. They can see MPs publicly destroying their own leader because they've lost faith in his ability to lead, and voters are drawing conclusions. They're concluding that this party is a shambles, that this government is dysfunctional, and that maybe, just maybe, they should give someone else a chance. Reform UK must be absolutely delighted. They don't even need to campaign at this point. Labour is doing all the work for them. Every headline about Labour infighting, every quote from Labour MPs attacking their own Prime Minister, every demonstration of the party's inability to function democratically is a gift to reform. It's free advertising. It's validation of their entire critique of the establishment political class. Look at Labour, Reform can say. They're so scared of us, they're cancelling democracy, blocking candidates, eating themselves alive. Why would you vote for that chaos when you could vote for us?